All right, boys. So I've been seeing a lot of comments on my videos recently, specifically the videos I've made about cold approach, where guys will be saying stuff like, cold approach isn't worth it. Cold approach is a waste of time. Who even has the time to spam approaches all day? You're putting in all this effort and you're not even getting that much in return. What is the point? And I can totally understand why someone would hold this viewpoint. I know for a fact that I held this belief in the past, this exact belief. But right now, I still disagree with that. I still think in the year 2025, cold approach probably is the most time efficient way to meet women, especially if you have a busy schedule, especially if you don't have a lot of time. And the reason I believe this is because, like so many other things in life, and it's going to sound cliche, you get out what you put in. So you can be the guy like I used to be, where you go out approaching for an hour, but most of the time you're just procrastinating. You're not actually going up to any girls, and you might manage one approach in a whole hour. Or you can be the guy who goes out on his lunch break. He only has 10 minutes, but he approaches 10 girls. You know, it can be as easy or as difficult as you make it for yourself. The number one limitation is you and your ability to just put your ego to the side and get on with it. And I know that's easier said than done, but that is the reason I'm making this video. I want to address what I believe to be the main limitations stopping you from getting to that level. It was definitely the reason stopping me from getting to that level. So let me ask you a question first. I want to pose this question to you. If the girl you were about to approach and you were feeling a little bit reluctant to do it, if you knew for a fact that when you went over there to ask her out, she was 100% with certainty gonna say yes, would you still go over? I think the vast majority of guys, the answer would absolutely be yes. Of course they're gonna go over. Why would you not? It's the same with making friends. Like if you knew that person you were kind of scared to go and talk to, but looks interesting, if you knew they were going to be your best friend and you're going to share like so many fun memories together, you would 100% go up to them. Why the hell would you not? So if you answered yes to that question, what that says to me is it's not actually the act of going over to the girl and speaking to her. It's not the taking action part and holding the conversation part that scares you. It's just the fear of rejection. It's just the possibility that she might say no and the damage that that could potentially cause to your ego. And honestly, it is completely normal to feel that way about rejection when you're not accustomed to it. Who honestly wants to be rejected? Who wants to put their ego on the line in that way? And truthfully, I didn't even have that much experience with rejection until quite recently. And that's not because, I was so good with girls. It was actually the opposite. I used to reject myself. I would stop myself in my tracks from ever taking action because I didn't believe there was a possibility that the girl could even say yes to me. I'd stop myself entirely from taking any action. I'd reject myself. But now that I've started doing way more approaches and I have experienced a lot of rejection, I can confidently say that most rejections are polite and civil. Like by far like the most common rejection you'll get is I have a boyfriend. And I'm completely fine with that, with being told no in that instance, because we can both just go on with our day. No time has been wasted whatsoever. But I would be lying if I told you that I hadn't had some rejections that had made me wince. Like nothing crazy, like nothing like a girl freaking out on me, but there have been times where I've gotten blanked and just ignored, and that never used to feel nice in the past. It would damage my ego ever so slightly. So the reason I'm telling you this, the question that I want to answer today is, how do you stay resilient? How do you keep putting yourself out there when your ego is at risk of being damaged by rejection, or maybe it's been damaged in the past? Because I feel like I've come up with a pretty effective way. This works for me very well to almost separate my ego from the rejection itself. It's like to not be wounded by that rejection, have it ruin your whole day, and to just stay on focus. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't still get nervous to go over and talk to girls. Like I'm fucking human. But that's more about me just wanting to make a good impression. Like naturally, everyone's going to want to present the best version of themselves to a pretty girl. But I can pretty confidently say that the fear of rejection itself, the no, isn't the thing that's holding me back. And I'm pretty pleased to be able to say that. So the solution to this problem is something I like to call assume the best case scenario. So I'm going to apply this to a real life example that happened to me a couple of weeks ago. So I'm out in London, I'm out in the city doing some approaches, as you do, and I see this super cute girl walking towards me, and I immediately take action. Stick out my hands, say excuse me. She starts slowing down, and crucially, she takes out her AirPods, which signals to me that she's at least willing to entertain a conversation with me. Like she doesn't mind too much about talking to me. And I say this with absolute sincerity. Like when I'm approaching, I only ever give sincere compliments. I do not say anything I don't mean. I think you look absolutely amazing today. And I'm getting ready to ask her a name and all of this when before I'm done talking, I notice the expression she has on her face. This absolutely stone cold expression, this blank expression on her face, like she's staring into my soul. And before I can really react to that, she turns around and she keeps walking. She's walking away from me even faster now. And I'm not going to force it or anything, but I feel like in moments like these, this is when your brain can really start to spiral. You can start thinking about all the things that either you did wrong or whether it's about something to do with you. What if she thought I was ugly? What if she thought I was so hideous that she could not bear to spend another second in my presence? She just had to get away from me. Or what if I just absolutely bored her to death? Like that sentence, that compliment I gave, she heard it so many times. It was so boring that I was putting her to sleep and she had to escape me. So again, it's normal for a lot of guys to have this internal dialogue, to start thinking it's something about them. But this is the crucial moment for separating your ego from this rejection. You need to intercept that negative thought. You need to catch yourself in this thought pattern and ask yourself, if I truly don't know the facts of the situation, if I don't actually know why this girl rejected me, then why am I automatically assuming it's something wrong with me? Why am I automatically assuming the worst case scenario when I don't even know the facts of the situation? Why am I making it about me? Why am I convincing myself that she found me ugly? Why can't I at least do myself the justice of not making it about me, of assuming a scenario that reflects a little bit better than me, a little bit better on me, and allows me to retain more of my ego and more of my self-esteem? So how about instead of her finding me ugly and needing to get away from me, what about she just had a boyfriend? That's more than likely. She just had a boyfriend, and this could be it. She could be the best, most loyal girlfriend in the world. She's so loyal to the point where she will not even entertain a conversation with another boy. She just won't even respond to them. That's how good of a girlfriend she is. So that's the reason she left. Or how about she was on her way to meet her best friend that she hasn't seen in 2 years. She's so looking forward to seeing this friend in London today. And I've intercepted her, I've startled her, and she's like, stop for a minute. But then as I'm talking to her, she has this realization that she's late to meet her friends. And, she doesn't have any time to spare. She's got to go see her friend now. So she leaves immediately. It could be something like that. Or something I've told myself in the past, which is more possibly to do with me. Like when a girl I liked and I've been out on a date with ghosted me, I'm kind of feeling sorry for myself. Why not make the reason, rather than she found me ugly or she found me boring, why don't I tell myself that she actually found me too confident, that this was such a good date, that she actually convinced herself that I must be going on millions of dates with other girls as well, and that I'm a player. And I'm absolutely not a player. Like, I'm not two-timing any girls, but she thought that because I was so confident that I must have been leading her on, or I must have like a bunch of other girls in the picture. Why not come up with an excuse that like allows me to walk away from that situation with the same amount of confidence and self-esteem? So hopefully you're following what I'm saying. And again, a belief that you might have in response to me saying this is like, okay, cool, but why are you being delusional? Why are you creating these false narratives? Why are you making up these things in your head when you don't know the facts? And yeah, it's absolutely true that I don't know the facts, but if that's the case, wouldn't it be equally delusional to assume the worst case scenario, to make it something about you, to make it something so deeply personal when you don't know the facts? You've got to give yourself a fair chance. And if it's about delusions of how good you are or delusions of how bad you are, I'm gonna pick the former every single time. I want to leave that situation with my self-esteem intact. So if I don't know the facts, why can't I assume the best case scenario? So that framework is so unbelievably good for those situations where you are in doubt, where you got blanked or you got ghosted by some girl, and you think it might be something to do with you. But you can walk out of these situations with your self-esteem intact. And, you know, sometimes I'll get rejected, but my momentum isn't killed if I use this framework, and I'm able to go on to meet so many other girls that are actually interested in me. But you are going to encounter the rare instance where you do get a bad rejection. And I haven't had a truly bad rejection yet. But even if you do, even if a girl tells you to fuck off, to fuck right off, get out of my sight, that is still not a fact. Emotional responses are not facts. That doesn't mean it's something about you. So the mindset I have when it comes to these situations, even if I haven't encountered a truly bad rejection yet, is, again, it sounds cliche, but some people are just having a bad day. On certain days, some people are just rejecting life. It's not personal. They're not rejecting you specifically. They are rejecting life. They're rejecting a conversation with anyone. And when you start to deep this, you realize that you're probably guilty of this too. Like, when I'm in a bad mood, I don't really want to speak to anyone, and I'm just lashing out at the world. Like, I'll get stuck behind some slow walker on the pavement, and I'm just raging at them in my head, like, get the fuck out of my way. Like, stop getting in my way. So once you get in that irrational frame of mind, you just lash out at people. And it's not about anyone specifically trying to talk to me. It's just about the mood that I'm in. So women are fully capable of that as well. And you've got to remember, you've got to separate your own ego from those rejections and reassure yourself that it's not personal. It probably has nothing to do with you. So I hope those two frameworks have been very helpful for you. I want you to be absolutely bulletproof when it comes to rejection. You're not actually afraid of the taking action part, which is arguably the harder part of any cold approach or any situation where you have to be socially daring. You just have to get over that fear of the no. So use these two frameworks and you'll be absolutely flying in no time. Take care, my friends. I'll see you in the next one.